It's always worth your time understanding how you're going to go about admitting defeat. I play a lot of games. You might notice that this channel goes through at least 2 games a month, usually more. You may also be aware that I have a blog where I write about a game every week. This means that at least in the most surface of ways, I engage with games pretty regularly. Often it's a case of a binge of a bunch, and then going back through them and restoring my notes to construct an article or a video sometimes. One of the skills I've developed throughout this is the willingness to drop things, to recognize that, hey, I'm not engaged with this game enough to want to talk about it, or I don't think this game is going to continue to engage me, and therefore it's gone. This is a tool that I've used to get through my pile of games that most people would call a backlog, I guess. But a backlog implies you're kind of like obligated to do it, a sort of work arrangement, which this isn't. I just have a lot of games, and I'm trying to see what I think of every single one of them. This means that for some games, I've played 10 minutes, and just, that's it, that's all I got. That's all you're gonna get out of me. It's easy to find reasons to drop games. Sometimes thinking the game is going to be boring is an easy one. Another time is if the game's developer does something that makes me feel vile, in which case, even if the game is good, I have other games to play. Sometimes a game will engage me, and then on reflection I'll find something I don't like about it, and that's where we get negative commentary on these games. It's easy to ditch a game when I'm not enjoying it. It's easier still to ditch a game when, even if I'm enjoying it, I don't want to talk about the people involved, because they suck. What can be hard is when a game is good, and funny, and charming, and I still have to ditch on it. Skatebird is a skateboarding game in which you play a bird. Now, I have not played a lot of this game, and as you can see, the little bit of it I've played, I'm not very good at. I'm under a time crunch here. I don't have infinite time to get better at this game, and I don't have an alternative to focus on. So, you kinda just have to see what I get out of this game as I'm here in the repeatedly eat carpet stage of the game. I don't want to ditch on this game early. I really would like to finish the entire game and give commentary on that. The problem is, I don't have the time, and not only do I not have the time, I don't know how long it would take. I don't know if this is a matter of getting better at this game in an hour, or if, much more likely, this is a matter of getting better at this game a little bit at a time, over the course of days. And normally, I would just watch gameplay videos, or engage with some writing others had done of it to get the gist for what I was missing, before I decided if I wanted to really keep going or dive in. I haven't done that with Skatebird, partly because I feel like this game deserves more respect, even with just as little of it as I've seen in what I've played. I have this idea I explain to my students of play is paratext. Paratext is text created as part of the necessities of experiencing a text. So, when Gerard Genette first established the idea, he was talking about things like book jackets, paperweight, scale of page, the cover art, the surrounding details of the media. Things that you cannot say, in all fairness, are definitely part of the text, but you also cannot definitely say are not. In my model of games, what this means is that the game text is inert until acted upon by a player. That is, the play experience of a game is paratextual. It is created by the player as part of experiencing the game. When we talk about games as texts, we are typically doing so in a Barthes sense, where what we are looking for is repeated use of symbols to create meaning. And Skatebird, in just the opening 20 minutes, does a lot of that. It's a sort of obviousness in its signaling that nonetheless is recontextualized, made so close and yet so large that it can be easy to misunderstand it until the game starts explaining it to you, diluting it bit by bit. See, in Skatebird, you play a bird on a skateboard. And that may seem like a fairly obvious thing, but you actually are a bird on a bird-sized skateboard. And you don't live out in the wild, you live in an apartment. And that apartment is sized for a human. So all of your initial skate ramps and tricks in the learning stage of the game is spent with things like magazines and discarded drink bottles and plastic forks. Things in a room that the birds can interact with and get around the place freely for the sake of the birds, but nonetheless reflect to you the characterization of the human. This gets us to another concept I love to talk about in games, which is rhyperography. Rhyperography is the artistic depiction of the low, mundane, and dirty. You might see this come up in discussions of hyper-realistic art. Rhyperography is one of the most common things you will see in video games, period. Most video games, even the ones that are trying to depict the exciting and the novel, make those things out of lots of mundane pieces. We have grown used to a gaming landscape where everyday objects are the bulk of what you see in a setting to make that setting feel like it exists. There are desks and office chairs in Half-Life, an alien invasion where a large body of what the game is bothering to remember to tell you about is planks and rocks and crates and barrels, things that are mundane and unimportant, so that they can surround the things that are exciting and interesting. The root of what's going on in Skatebird is, on first impression, tied very much to this discussion of things that are low, art of the low object. And there are questions there. Is depression inextricably linked to the same conceptual icons? Is there a structural way that we have in our culture decided to depict depression and its results and its life experiences? What does it tell you about someone who's too sad to get a different job, but still does what they can to take care of and protect their pets? When you are caring for the least of things, it's easy to forget you're not caring for yourself. And these are all questions that Skatebird, a funny skateboarding game about budgies, puts forward and just lets sit there around you while you skateboard around trying to work out how the controls work. I wish I was really good at Skatebird. I wish I could give you some great insights into Skatebird and make it look as cool as it deserves to look so that you get excited to go check it out. If you're the kind of person who, like me, likes seeing the stories being told in these games in these unconventional ways, but this game is currently at my skill boundary and I've got to get this video up in 2 days. So, this is what you get. Me admitting defeat and encouraging you to go check out Skatebird.